Okay, so my research-based art practice manifests in many materials, but each project is rooted in a conceptual foundation that addresses technological mediation between the body and the environment. I find myself returning to this question: how does technology shape the way humans orient themselves in the world? I want to share a couple recent projects to provide context for my practice, and then introduce a collaboration that is in the early stages of development. This project combined a website hosted on a server inside of a sculpture, motion capture data from a Reiki healing session performed on that server, and a recreation of that Reiki session in VR. I was interested in teasing out the feedback of neurological, mechanical, and digital signals. The work questions the rules governing the logic signal exchange in our current system and reimagines technologically networked bodies as a site for healing. The Anthropocene can be defined as the collapse of the human into the geologic time frame as facilitated by technology. But it's too big and too slow to be understood by a single human. The problem facing collective mobilization around climate change isn't apathy, it's scale and tempo. I started thinking about rituals humans perform every day that connect physical bodies to geologic time that could make the Anthropocene perceivable at a human scale. In 2019, I founded a cosmetic company that created its distributed performative action, a kind of reskinning of the human body with geological, biological, and synthetic materials that have moved through global distribution systems and have come together in specific formulations, only to be redistributed again and applied to the dermal layer of the human body. On the face of it, the company passed. The active ingredients in each formulation are selected based on their efficacy as evidenced by peer-reviewed scientific research, and combines information about product ingredients that leans into the more psychedelic aspects of the chemical constituents interactions with the human body. At first, the marketing copy seems to make sense within a certain kind of late surreal capitalist narrative logic, but on closer inspection, the language is strange, even for cosmetic branding. It was sourced directly from radical political theory, intersectional analytical frameworks, and science fiction. These works map out my attempts to reconcile two very different but equally likely visions of the future. One where our biology and technology are almost indistinguishable, and the other where the planet has been pushed to the breaking point so that it can no longer support the techno-human agenda. These two visions are irreconcilable, or at least incompatible. The material environment and the physical bodies living within it are approaching a critical moment of climate-induced destabilization that can only be mitigated by collective action on a massive scale. In 2019, a study found that training of an off-site AI language processing, off-the-shelf AI language processing system produced 1,400 pounds of emissions, about the amount produced by flying one person round trip between New York and San Francisco. Good engineers can anticipate the ways a project could fail technically. On the other hand, art is particularly good at asking questions, addressing what if rather than how to. Questions like, what are the ways this project could cause failures in other systems if it is successful? I submit the best way to find our way back to reality is through speculative investigations using the same platforms that undermine it. Here's where I come to my current project, a digital archive that uses a platform originally developed by my MFA advisee, Dawn Hansen, in response to the loss of physical exhibition opportunities for our community because of the COVID pandemic. New Art City uses web-stable languages which ensure the longevity and accessibility of new media works for artists, researchers, and archivists. No apps to keep updated, and you don't need to rely on esoteric hardware. I'm currently writing an NEH grant to fund the expansion of accessibility features of New Art City for web VR and blockchain integration to provide non-fungible tokens for assets uploaded to the archive to ensure authentication and provenance. This doesn't come without some perils. It's imperative that as creators of simulated worlds that we take into account the collective needs of the physical one. There are ways to reduce the impact of computation on climate. This project will utilize proof of stake rather than proof of work blockchain protocols, which are more power hungry. We will also utilize servers that receive their energies from renewable sources. I'm currently running an internship course for undergraduates with New Art City and considering running a summer internship course as well. Next slide. If you or your students are interested in more information, please reach out. Thank you.